Thank God it's Friday. Good morning and welcome to today's edition of the program Scoreboard in 15, right on 32 FM 94.9. You are listening to the voice of 𝐒𝐿𝐒 SAMIES on this Friday edition. Today, the third day in the 10th month of the year 2025. Let's discuss about the sporting stories. Yes, for the Flying Eagles of Nigeria in the early hours of today, you talk about their redemption arc, which definitely was kept alive by the captain of the side, Daniel Bameyi, from the penalty spot, as the Flying Eagles of Nigeria came out victorious, 3-2, defeating Saudi Arabia. But going into the match, the 3 against the table toppers, Colombia, how would the Flying Eagles of Nigeria fare? Well, definitely we'll still take a reaction from that game that went down just in the early hours of today, as the Flying Eagles of Nigeria defeated their counterparts, that's Saudi Arabia, 3-2. But talk about the European games that went down yesterday, also across the different centers in the UEFA Europa League and also in the Europa Conference League. Well, I'll tell you that the biggest game for me happens to be the game between AS Roma and Lille. Yes, I said that yesterday, one of the big games that went down yesterday. And for Lille's shot stopper, you tell that it came out on top yesterday as AS Roma, they lost 3 penalty kicks that's in the dying minutes of that encounter against the Lille. Well, a surprising 1-0 victory. It was enough for Lille to take the maximum 3 points in that game against AS Roma. I talk about Aston Villa. Well, now, you say they've won 3 games in a row. That's in the world of football. 2 in the Europa League and also 1 in the English Premier League. But you talk about one side, back to the City Ground after over 30 years. That's Nottingham Forest. Not the best of results for them against Midtjylland. They lost by 3-2. But that also came at the expense of the fans wanting Ange Postecoglou out of the side after less than a month in charge of that's Nottingham Forest. Remember that it has not been an exciting or jolly ride for Ange Postecoglou since he took over the reins at Nottingham Forest from the hands of Nuno Espirito Santo, who is now the head coach of West Ham Football Club. But you say that for Crystal Palace, 19 games now without defeat. They did that yesterday, winning by 2-0 away from home. And you tell that Oliver Glasner, like I said yesterday, he said he hopes that a European pedigree would help Crystal Palace this season. Having a team squad, letting go of the likes of 𝐒𝐿𝐒 during the course of the summer transfer window, I think they are definitely on course to maybe be the biggest performer that's in the Europa Conference League. Also, we'll talk about what we expect later this week and the day in the German Bundesliga, the top 4 race. Well, definitely is in an early litmus test for this 2025-2026 football season in the English Premier League. A game is set to go down later today, and then we also take a look at the games set to go down in Europe top 5 leagues. In the world of basketball, just as we anticipate the return of the NBA, there are updates also. We are Luka Doncic, Lakers said they embrace the Reddick's directive to be in top shape ahead of the 2025-2026 NBA season as well. So all of this we'll discuss on today's edition of the show right on 32 FM 94.9. But let's join our partners, the BBC, to take a listen to what they have for us as regards the BBC Premier League update. Yes, I mentioned the 3 English sides who are in action in the Europa and also in the Europa Conference League: Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa, and that's Crystal Palace in action there in the 2nd and 3rd tier of European football. Let's take a listen to what the BBC they have for us as regards the English Premier League updates.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm Shabnam Yunus-Jewell at the BBC Sports Centre. Aston Villa made it 2 wins from 2 in the Europa League, winning 2-0 at Feyenoord with John McGinn scoring again. But Nottingham Forest lost 3-2 to Midtjylland, prompting home fans to chant "sacked in the morning" to boss Ange Postecoglou, who was winless since replacing Nuno Espirito Santo last month. In the Conference League, impressive Crystal Palace celebrated an historic first away win in Europe as they comfortably beat Dynamo Kyiv 2-0 in Poland. They also set a new club record by extending their unbeaten run to 90 matches across all competitions. Bournemouth have the chance to go second in the Premier League on Friday night if they can beat Fulham at home. They've been consistently performing well this season, but Bournemouth boss Andoni Iraola says the table is not important to him at this stage.
I think it's too early to take those conclusions. We are talking about very small differences. I think Fulham are now, I don't know where they are, 11, 12. They beat us, they are level on points with us. You beat them, obviously you get in a better position, but now it's too early to look. I don't look at the stands. I'm not even sure where we are.
Meanwhile, the Fulham boss Marco Silva has expressed his disappointment at Rodrigo Muniz and Kenny Tete being sidelined for a while with hamstring and knee injuries respectively. Silva is not sure if Raul Jimenez will be available, having been forced off against Aston Villa, which is more bad news.
Even after the international break, it's going to be difficult for them to be ready for the next ones. Big miss for us, a big blow for us in terms of two important players, but it's what it is. About Raul, we have to wait. We are going to have a session, and after we have to take a decision to assess him today again and to see how he's going to be. If he's going to be in contention or not to the game, just later we are going to decide.
And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
All right, there you listen to the BBC Premier League update, but still taking updates from the European scene. Games that went on yesterday for Lille shortstopper, like I said. Well, for AS Roma, they missed 3 straight attempts from the penalty spot late in the game as Lille upset the Italian club 1-0 in the Europa League yesterday, and it was a bizarre sequence. Roma was given 3 tries to equalize from the spot after the first 2 efforts from Dovbyk were both saved by goalkeeper Bercy Osa, only for the referee to order the penalty to be retaken each time because of encroachment. But Roma then switched the penalty takers to Matthias Süle, but Osa saved that one as well, diving to the right to punch the ball away in the 85th minute, nearly 4 minutes after Dovbyk had made his first attempt. Well, not the best of performance when you talk about the opportunity they had to score from the penalty spot for AS Roma. And then still talking about some of the full results of games that went on yesterday in the Europa and also in the Europa Conference League. Just a highlight of some of them for Boyona and Freiburg. The game ended 1-1. Celtic, yes, Kelechi Iheanacho scored a goal in that game, but it was ruled out by that's the video assistant referee, and they lost that encounter by 2-0. Fenerbahce yesterday defeated Nice by 2-1. Real Betis defeated Ludogorets Razgrad by 2-0 as well. And then you talk about Feyenoord, like I said, or like the BBC also reported, they lost to the hands of Aston Villa by 2-0. Dynamo Kiev defeated Maccabi Tel Aviv 3-1. Lyon defeated Salzburg by 2-0, while Rangers also lost to the hands of Sturm Graz by 2-1. In the Europa Conference League, Fiorentina were victorious 2-0 in their encounter. Sparta Praha also were victorious against the Shamrock Rovers by 4-1. Mainz 0-5 at the end of the German Bundesliga. They defeated the Cyprus side, that's Omonia, by 1-0. But let's leave all of that and also talk about some other developing stories where we discuss about the Flying Eagles of Nigeria at this point in time in their bid to win the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. Well, in the early hours of today, the Flying Eagles of Nigeria got their campaign back on track, winning 3-2. That was a 5-goal thriller. Well, the victory came in the dying minutes of that game after Aliyu Zubairu's side. They had the opportunity to definitely get away with maximum points. It was the captain of the side, Daniel Bameyi, who definitely struck that's the penalty into the back of the net. And the 7-time African champions climbed to 3rd position in Group F with 3 points from 2 games. Colombia and Norway, they top the standings with 4 points each. And the Flying Eagles of Nigeria will take on Colombia in the last game. That's on Sunday morning. But taking a look at the full fixtures of games that went down yesterday and also in the early hours of today, the FIFA Under-20 Men's World Cup. From those results, we also had South Africa getting their first victory also in this tournament, defeating New Caledonia by 5-0. You ask me, if they don't defeat New Caledonia, who else is South Africa going to defeat at this FIFA Under-20 Men's World Cup? So some other results or actions went down just late yesterday. The results are the US defeating France by 3-0. Colombia and Norway sharing the spoils 0-0. And then you talk about the other actions are set to resume later today, match day 3. Ukraine will be up against Paraguay by 9 p.m. and also Panama would be up against South Korea by 9 p.m. In the early hours of tomorrow, Egypt against Chile, New Zealand against Japan. But for the African sides, how have we fared so far? We take a look at the 4 African sides who are representing the continent at the FIFA Under-20 Men's World Cup and their position. In Group A, we have Egypt with 0 points from 2 games played. In Group B, there is no African country. In Group C, Morocco, of course, are doing the continent so proud. 2 games, 2 victories, defeating Brazil and Spain. They top their standing with 6 points. And then you talk about South Africa in Group E. Truly, after 2 games, they also have 3 points in that encounter. They are third on their standing, and we have Nigeria in Group F, third also on our standing with 3 points from 2 games played. Well, quickly in the world of football, just before we leave the show, later tonight in the English Premier League, Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium will be up against Fulham Football Club. In the Italian Serie A, Verona will be up against Sassuolo. In Spain, Osasuna will be up against Getafe. In Germany, Hoffenheim will be up against Cologne, while in France, Paris Football Club will be up against Lorient. That's in Europe top 5 leagues. Some of the actions are set to go down later tonight. You know, it's going to be Friday night football. And then we have the early kickoffs for tomorrow. But still talking about football stories now. On just as we prepare for the international window, Lucas Zidane, the son of France legend Zinedine Zidane, he has been called up by Algeria for their forthcoming 2026 World Cup qualifiers against Somalia and Uganda, born in the southern French city of Aix-en-Provence. The goalkeeper appeared for France at various youth levels, but recently switched his allegiance to Algeria. At the age of 27, he is one of the 3 goalkeepers named in Algeria's coach Vladimir Petkovic's 26-man squad for the matches on 9th and 14th October 2025. Later this month. Well, you tell that he played 2 matches for Madrid and has La Liga experience at Rayo Vallecano, but dropped a level in the 2022 to play for Elba before heading to Andalusian club Granada in 2024. So I think it's going to be great also to see the son of a football legend play on the African continent. Well, this is how far we can go on today's edition of the show. Will come later in the afternoon, 3:30, and to build up into the games we expect to go down later this weekend, and some reactions from the news that have emanated in the last 24 hours in the world of sports. I am SAMIES, your sports captain. I say do enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.